I want to ask us, before we jump into what we have today, I want to say again, good evening to everyone. I hope we had a great week. I hope we've been learning a lot from this series. There's a lot that we've shared, a lot that we've discussed, a lot that I'm sure that we're still trying to digest, because most of what we talk about has to do with life. Sometimes life doesn't present to you some of the things that, some of the practical or some of the theory that you have. So the idea of all these things, the idea of sharing knowledge, the idea of reading, the idea of learning, is that when you get to that point where you need to apply this, you're able to apply it. So the most important thing when it comes to learning or mentoring is that you're actually getting this knowledge, you're able to apply it. Application is key. Without being able to apply it, all the learning is useless. And so that's why most of the time when we structure learning, we start with, we talk about what that thing is, why it is important, and then how to achieve that, or how to do this, or how to do that. It always ends with how, because if you don't teach, or if we don't say how something is done, whatever you have shared, whatever you have told that person is not useful to them. It's just knowledge. But it's not, it cannot be wisdom, because wisdom is actually knowledge you can apply, knowledge you can use. So one of the things that will make this experience, enhance this experience for you, is your ability to, at least in the first instance, go through all the questions in the worksheets. In fact, what I shared with you in the WhatsApp group is just the first segment of the worksheet. So the worksheets have questions for understanding, questions for reflection, and then it has some other aspects of it. So it's 3 sections. So you have that set of questions for understanding. So I was just able to share questions for understanding, just for extra, extra study. But questions for reflection requires you to have deeper, an in-depth, process to kind of process what you've learned and reflect on some of the things you've learned by looking back into your life and being able to say, this is how this is, or that is. So our class for today is the finishing. And so everything about today's class is talking about how to finish well, how to finish strong, how to stay on track, how to, get to the end of the journey and get to an expected or end and hit the ultimate target. So to keep focus, to stay on track, a lot of times, because of the length of time, or because of all the things that we go through, sometimes we can lose focus. Sometimes we can get weary, but we don't have to. There's a way to stay strong. There's a way to stay on track. There's a way to stay focused. And what I would say is the way has to do with a little bit of everything that we have. How to stay on track has to do with a little bit of everything that we've learned throughout the course of the past 7 days. So we've learned how your foundation affects your life. Very, very key. Those things, sometimes it's out of the way, something we can't see, and so we feel it's not important. But it's very important. And when you reflect on it, you will know that this forms a big part of who I am today as a person. And then we also learned about the recipe for sweetness and greatness. Sugar and spice, that's what sugar and spice is all about. Talking about character, competence, talking about the foundation. When we look back at the foundation, we talk about the components of your foundation, which has to do with character and connectedness. So everything you form in your foundation somehow grows out to determine the kind of person you are. So we also went to talk about frustration, the biggest frustrations we have about discovering our purpose, who we are, self-identity and all that. And we sorted that out. So, all these things are building blocks. So they don't just stand on their own. These are building blocks. We start with the foundation and then we build up. So you understand yourself, have your identity. So generally speaking, you know who you are as a girl, who you are as a person, the concept and the components that make you sweet and great. And then you now know your own personal unique identity. So it's not that general identity of women in general, but me personally, I have a calling, I have an identity, I have a path, I have a purpose. So understanding all that is very, very, very key. And then we now went ahead to talk about some of the fixations we have that are rooted mostly in our emotions. So I talked about, yes, you're going on the path of greatness, there are external obstacles and internal ones. Many times the internal ones defeat us faster than the external ones. And so we need to sort those things out. We need to clear them out of the way. If not, we will not be able to achieve most of the things that we wish or we long to achieve. So it's very key for us to fixate on the right things, focus on your purpose, focus on why you're being called. And then from that sense of purpose, you're able to pull yourself out of every pit of depression and all that. And we did some dynamics of depression, how it works and how you can overcome it. And then we proceeded further to talk about the formation. So what now forms your life? After you've sorted out all these things, you've sorted some things out of the way, what forms the crux of your life? It has to do with things like vision, things like goals, the values you have. That's what makes you who you are. So after you sorted internal obstacles, there has to be something you're targeting. So you're not just fighting demons, you're also purposefully going after goals, going after plans, on the journey, very purposeful on the journey. And so that formation has to do with what forms your life, your vision, your values, and then the goals you're setting. So we did some goal setting techniques and the whys and all that. And then yesterday, we talked about the fortification. So when you have formed something, there needs to be something that fortifies it. It needs to be extra strengthened. So you don't just want to pursue your purpose or your goals and that's all. You want to do it in the best way possible. You want to be excellent. So you upgrade yourself. The more you discover, when you discover yourself, you discover for instance, you discover a precious stone. The discovery is not the end of it. What happens is that you pick up that stone, you find out what are the qualities of this stone, what can it do? How can I upgrade this thing? And when you understand how you can upgrade it, and you put in the work to upgrade that thing, it improves the value. And so your value can actually increase by what you know. Your value can increase by what you can put in, into yourself to upgrade yourself, to enhance yourself, to refine yourself, to reinforce it. So reinforcement means making it better, making it stronger, making it more able to withstand some things. And if you look through all these things, the bottom line is that thing is building you up into someone who can be tenacious, who can be, when you're fortified, you can go further, you can last longer. And so all these things just come together. They are building blocks that make you the woman that God meant you to be. So you see, when we talk about sugar and spice, the making of a woman, these are the building blocks that makes her who she is. So it starts from your foundation, and then it ends on how much fortified you are for the purpose of finishing strong. So this is our last class, and the concept or the idea for today is that all these things need to come together. All these things, you need to put in the investment it takes. You need to commit to the process that delivers every outcome on every level of this journey, of this process of making you the woman God has proposed you to be. So you have to commit yourself. You can't leave one place, one step or the other. And then when it comes, laterally, you need to understand that there are different dimensions of you that you need to put some focus on, put work on, build up, so that you will be that woman, of virtue and value. You will be that woman of purpose, that woman of competence, that woman of character, that woman that is filled with potential, that woman that is making impact. That's the idea of all this. So in a nutshell, just before we wrap up, You know, you need to understand one thing. Another thing that helps you go long or stay on track is being able to understand yourself and the timeline, you know, that makes up your life. So in life, we are given this lease of life. We are given a portion of time, a portion of life that is encapsulated in time for us to be able to achieve some things, you know, towards another dimension. So our life doesn't end here. I'm so thankful to God that our lives doesn't have to do with, okay, how much, you know, or this span of our lifetime. However, that span of our lifetime needs to be used to its fullest capacity. There are opportunities we need to take advantage of. There are seasons we need to take advantage of. Seasons, more importantly, because a lot of times we feel because maybe we've missed one season, nothing can happen. No, seasons, new days, new dawns, they are given to us to give us another chance to make things better. So we will just quickly look at in understanding us and the lifespan given to you as a person, as a woman. We have 4 key seasons of our life, and that's one of the things you need to understand. So that those 4 seasons of our life, within those 4 seasons, for each season, there's an expression of us that comes out for each season. So you must understand that as a woman, you are not one-faced, you are multifaceted. Yes, we are multidimensional, we're also multifaceted. So we have different faces, and that's why we can function, you know, on different platforms. That's why we can function in the home. That's why we can function in the marketplace. That's why we can function in leadership. That's why we can function anywhere. And if you understand the faces that you're given and the phases of your life, you are able to function in any dimension or in any place you are placed. So you're able to function fully as a woman. And so you need to understand that we have 4 expressions that manifest across 4 seasons of our life. And so the first expression of woman is the expression of a baby or a child. So we all come into this earth as children, as babies, and within that period of childhood, there's a face of a woman that is expressed, and that face is the face of a baby. So we are born fragile, you know, vulnerable, sweet, loving. So that's the sweet part of us. That's where that sweetness is first expressed. And so we now grow up, we're children. See, if you see any girl, any young girl, she's always adorable. There's just something about a young girl. People just want that makes that comes across as very, very vulnerable, and everybody just wants to gather around her and maybe take care of her and help her and do one thing or the other. That's the expression when it comes to us as baby, you know, the face of the baby. So the second phase, that's when you get through that season, you move into the season of the expression or the face of a lover. So that's when you now start getting into your teenage age, where puberty starts coming, where a woman starts forming, where that part of her sexual essence starts developing. So that's the part that makes her attractive. That's the part that makes her, you know, people want to see her, people want to connect with her, everybody wants to, you know, that part of you that is attractive, not just in a maybe loving way, in that way that, oh, people adorable, but attractive in that way, you know, in a sexual nature. So attraction on another level. So when you start forming that, that's that part of your life. That's a phase of a woman. So you have a face of a baby, you have a face of a lover, and it happens, it expresses itself, or it comes out during it comes out at the how do I call it? It comes out at that puberty season, that adolescent time. And so that's when that face is expressed. That's when that face shows up. That's when that face is seen. And so the next phase is when you now start living adolescence and you now start getting into, you've grown older, all the youthful exuberance season is over, and then beginning to get serious with your life. That's when the face of the manager comes. So when you have to get married, so you're managing a relationship, you have to start having children. So there are children coming, so you have a job as well. So the manager expression of a woman now comes to play, because you have to manage all those parts of your life. And it's not just about you anymore. There's now that nurturing part, when you're nurturing instinct setting, and you begin to have things that you're working on or people that you're nurturing. The face of the manager begins to find expression, where you need to organize yourself, where you need to manage things, where you need to, multiply things, whatever the case may be. Then finally, the fourth face of a woman is the face of a queen. So by the time a woman has, done all that, been there, done that, and then to an extent, her life has come has come to birth. Let me just use that word. So you've come to birth. You've actually attained enough, and then you're at that point where you're consolidating your attainment and everything. So those four faces of a woman find expression in different stages of her life. But one of the things that people get to miss, which is the whole concept of today's class, and it's where I'm going to end, is that we think when one face is expressed in one phase, that after that phase is over, we are supposed to drop that expression. No. So that expression is introduced at the phase of your life, but it's not introduced for you to drop in another phase. So you must understand, as you move through the phases of your life, all those expressions that have come out needs to now be consolidated, needs to now be, enhanced, so that you can now be that full-fledged woman, and that you can, so the sweet part is the part that expresses as a baby and as a lover. So that sweetness, that attractiveness, that vulnerability, that thing that makes you, people are drawn to you, that part of you that forms at the early part of your life, it shouldn't give way when the other two parts are being formed, the part of the manager and the part of the queen. So you don't say, oh, because I'm now serious, there are things I'm doing, I should now become hard, I should now become tough. No, that's what happens to people when they leave that stage and they still start bringing up responsibility. They feel they need to, toughen up. But you don't need to toughen up for anybody. You don't need to toughen up for anybody. You need to consolidate every expression of yourself. And then at that point, you are now a full-fledged woman. So you're a woman of substance, because you have substance in every way. So whatever face you need to express, you can bring it out and express it. And that's what helps you stay focused. That's what helps you stay on track. Because in everything you're doing, you're bringing in your capabilities. And so it's making life easier for you. It's making life easy for you, because all the capacity, all the capabilities, all the uniqueness that you came to this world with is being expressed. And because it's expressed in its fullness, you're living a better life, because you're not just you're not just understanding each part of you, but you're utilizing it. And that is actually what it means to discover your sweetness and uncover your greatness. And that's what it means to activate your potentials. That's what it means to build and balance your personality, and to clarify your purpose. So at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you can look back and you will see that your life was, and your life had, you enjoyed a season and you lived a full life at that season. You know, some time ago, we had a baby shower in my house, and the new baby mothers were really dancing and having fun. And they were like, I hope that this dancing is not making you wish that you want to give birth again. I said, no, it's not. I am done with that season and I'm fine because I lived a full life. I didn't hold back. When I was giving birth to baby, I did everything anything that comes to mind. I lived a free, full life, enjoying myself, having fun. And so when that stage of my life moved to another stage, I had lived it fully, so no regrets. And so I wasn't now looking back. That's the way to stay on track. That's the way to keep being relevant. That's the way to keep hitting targets. That's the way to keep your goals up and keep doing the best that you are created to do. So that's basically what we have. So I'm going to open the floor. I hope we have some time to kind of discuss a little bit. So I'm going to open the floor for us to ask any questions. I think we have 10 minutes, so I think we're able to talk a little bit, ask questions, and let's see how it goes. So if you have questions, it'll be great to share now. Questions, people. Did we understand what I thought? Was I talking to myself? Yeah?
No.
No. This person answered no. You just unmuted, said no, and muted back. You know, the course I just finished doing, now we talked, the first course was really exciting, talking about our personality, you know, that those are one of the first things to understand in relationship. You know, when you're engaging with people, it's very great to understand their personality. It looks like everybody I have, do we have any sanguine in the house? I'm not sure we have a sanguine in the house. If not, that person would have unmuted since to ask a question. I learned today that sanguines are talkers. It's not as if I learned today. Oh yeah, ask your question. You're free, the floor is open. Jennifer. Thank
Good
you.
evening, ma.
Good evening. Hi.
This is ma. What for the classes I've actually been learning, but yes, I'm not a sanguine, so I just keep quiet and stay behind the scenes. So I actually had a question yesterday, but network was very bad.
Okay.
So you like I know the course has been building from foundations to all of that, but I wanted to ask, you know, you said something in one of our classes where you have to define yourself before you redefine before you refine yourself. Then yesterday you were telling us about upgrading your value and all of that. Then you talked about persons that gain mastery in what they do by continuous practice and all. So I was asking, say you are a multi-talented person, okay, and you're going through learning your personality. How do you know what to center on, like what to stick to? Because it feels like you can do a whole lot of things at the same time, and you can't go about, pursuing a career, say, now, and at the same time you want to run a business. At the same time, you want to go into volunteering. At the same, like there are just too many things you want to do at the same time. But I think you can't have too many things on your plate and achieve productivity. So how do you manage all of that and know which one you should center on as you are upgrading your value and all?
Okay, so I would like to just use two words. So two words that you need to have in mind is energy and opportunity. So when you want to decide what to focus on, you have to look at how much energy you have in each aspect. So no matter what, even if you have many things, there are some that will be more, that will resonate more than others. So you need to have that and say, okay, this is where there's more energy, because you really need energy to go all the way when it comes to pursuing some of the things you're supposed to do. And then opportunity. You might have all the energy in the world, but you don't have the opportunity. So it has to be a balance of how much energy you have in a certain direction and the opportunities available to you, or the opportunities you're able to access at that time. Because I know opportunities are always available, but the ones you're able to access at that time, you'll be able to unlock them. For instance, if you early on in life, you might want to go into business and you're passionate about it. But because you're at a point in your life where maybe you don't have enough resources to like wade through life or do some other things or get some other education, you might need to shelve a certain passion and then direct your energy to something that needs to enhance you in order to go back to that. So we have a lifetime to fulfill as many things as we want to do. So you have to talk about where's your energy, where's the opportunity, and how can I pace this? Understand what are the reasons, what do you want to achieve with this? Is this something I need to achieve urgently, or is this something that I can achieve down the line? So for decision multi-talented people, you need to make a lot of decisions around those three things I said. But the most important, or the way to kind of like hedge everything up, is get counsel. So you need to talk to someone who has gone ahead, and they'll be able to direct you. They'll be able to, because when your passion is really out there, sometimes a reality check helps, put things in perspective. And so you're able to get a better picture, and you're able to know that, okay, this one can work now, this one can't work now. And so I need to pace it in, put it in a time that, where I'll have a better opportunity to achieve this. So you need to have that. Did I answer your question, Jennifer?
Yes, ma. Yes, ma, you did. Thank you so much.
Okay, so it's something that you need to have a lot of consultation, counsel, direction. You need to pray about things, so God can help you clarify things, put things in perspective, and you're able to like line them up according to priority and prioritization as well. So passion, opportunity, priority, counsel, and all that. Those things need to be factored into your decision making towards knowing exactly what to do when your passion or your interests are everywhere. Any other question before we move ahead? While I'm waiting for question, I'll have to say, okay, initially, I was passionate about fixing things. I just felt, okay, I need to be, get into engineering, because really I was science inclined. I was always fiddling with things. So I got into engineering, but when I got in there, I lost interest at the point. So I tried my hands at many things. In fact, when I was in school, my project was, yes, technology based, but it was more social based as well. So we didn't just do our technology part, we also did some community development as well, as because by the time I was in school, I was already gravitating out of to be too technologically focused into people, into good impact, social impact, and the rest. And I knew that that's where I'm going to tend towards. And so I was thinking about communication for development, how I'm going to like take the skills I have to make. So I put my hands into almost everything. So I read engineering, I came out, I did communication, and now I'm in human resources. You can imagine. So I just, where there was opportunity, I took the opportunities. I did contributed my value as much as I could. Wherever I found opportunity, I was able to express whatever it is that I felt, or that I felt in my heart that I wanted to do, and then will give me opportunity to enhance myself, give me opportunity to also not just build value, but to also reap value. These are all the things we come. So along the way, I just kept, it's a constant reiteration process. So you keep checking and moving. But the most important thing is just be progressing. Be progressing. All right. Any other question? I don't know. I think some chat. Okay. Someone, Amoge says, thank you, Jennifer, for the question. Amoge, it looks like you're a big introvert. You don't want to unmute and speak, right? Okay, so who else has a question? No question? Thank you everyone for joining this free mentorship session. March is about to be over. This is our last class. It has been amazing. I had the best time of my life sharing all these things, you know, even in these nutshells, in these nuggets, no matter how short I tried to make it, it was still, you know, it still took some time, but you know, it's an exciting, this is what I love doing. This is where I can be, you know, all day and I will not feel it. Teaching, impacting people, helping you through all the model of life, and just, you know, providing guidelines as much as I know. Guidelines that are principle based and not just something that comes out of the top of my head, but something that is principle based, you know. And so this is what I enjoy doing. Yes, I've had a busy day, but I was looking forward to this class, you can imagine. And it's been interesting. There'll be certificates at the end, but that'll be for those who fill up the worksheets. So I'll be sending the worksheets on demand. If you want the worksheets, you ask for them, and then I will send you the worksheet. And then we can also have sessions where we talk through, especially the questions for reflection. It's always better in the setting where you can talk through. Remember, this is a mentorship experience. It's not a webinar. It's not, all these things, teachings are there, but it's not a webinar. It's more than a webinar. It's an experience, and it requires a lot of engagement. So I encourage you to reach out to me, ask questions. If you want to start conversations or you want to sort out things and you're looking for who can help you talk through all the issues, and you know, be able to, you know, see it, gain perspective for whatever it is you're going through at any point in your life, then I'm available. I'm open. My lines are open. We're all in that. We're all in that group, and so I think we'll be able to interact further. So the videos of all the classes are available. We're going to be making them available. I'll be sharing which platform they'll be available on. So you can go back and catch up on the videos and get all, you know, when you listen to something the next time or the second time, somehow you get further understanding. Something you didn't hear at that time, you hear it again. Somebody is even saying network is crazy, she can't hear. These things happen, but you know, thank God for technology, we're also able to have the replays, and so we can play them. So complete all your worksheets, complete all the work, because really the experience comes in not just in listening, but in engaging, in reflecting, in understanding, in actually learning so that you can apply. It's great to be your lead mentor in helping you discover your sweetness and uncover your greatness. Go into your world with the sweetness that God gave you, and then also go into this world with the greatness. This world is waiting for your greatness, and that greatness that is in you is actually the God that is in you, and that's the bottom line. And he's the one that will lead you through to the end. He's the one that actually makes you his vessel, and so as long as he's in you, you will get to the end. And I pray for every one of us that we will run this race on the right path, and we'll get to the end that God designed for us. We'll hit the ultimate target, which is to get into God's purpose for your life, achieve it, and then get to that end where he can say, well done, good and faithful servant. So you're a woman, but you're worth everything. You're worth the world to God, and he loves you, and I love you also. Continue talking, continue engaging, continue speaking, continue being sweet, continue great. I love you all with sugar and spice and all things nice. Bye.